My name is Dr. Allen, and I'm pleased to share with you my research on the impact of mindfulness on burnout and job satisfaction among K through 12 teachers. Let's start with my introduction. Teacher burnout and declining job satisfaction are serious challenges in K through 12 education. When teachers experience ongoing stress and emotional exhaustion, it affects not only their well-being, but also student learning and long-term retention in the profession. Mindfulness has increasingly been promoted as a way to support educators. However, we don't always distinguish between two important forms of mindfulness: who someone is and what someone does. In this study, I examined mindfulness in two ways. First, trait mindfulness. Now, this reflects a teacher's natural tendency to be present, aware, and grounded in everyday life. Second, mindfulness practice, meaning activities such as meditation, breathing techniques, and movement, and how often or how long those practices are sustained. This research was grounded in two well-established theories: the self-determination theory and the cognitive appraisal theory of stress. Now, self-determination theory tells us that people thrive when they feel a sense of autonomy, competence, and connection. When those needs aren't met, motivation and well-being decline. The cognitive appraisal theory explains that stress isn't just about what happens to us, it's about how we interpret and respond when it does. Together, these theories suggest that mindfulness may shape how teachers process stress and sustain motivation in demanding environments. Based on this foundation, I asked two main questions. First, are teachers who are naturally more mindful less burned out and more satisfied in their jobs? Second, does the length of time someone practices mindfulness make any difference? What I found was clear. These two forms of mindfulness are not interchangeable. Teachers who naturally tend to be more mindful reported significant lower burnout and higher job satisfaction. When I looked at practice, however, it wasn't how often teachers practiced that mattered. It was how long they had been practicing over time. And even that was associated only with reduced burnout and not job satisfaction. Now, to examine these questions, I conducted a quantitative survey study among 138 K through 12 teachers. And this was across different grade levels and years of experience. And participants completed an anonymous online survey that included 3 validated measures: the Mindful Awareness Scale to assess trait mindfulness, this is also known as MASS, the Burnout Assessment Tool, that was to measure, of course, burnout, and the Teacher Job Satisfaction Scale. I then used statistical methods to examine the relationships among these variables and to explore whether mindfulness changed the way burnout and job satisfaction were connected. Now, the top part of my poster, you'll see my results, and what I found was clear. Teachers who naturally tend to be more mindful reported lower burnout and higher job satisfaction. In other words, teachers who are more present and aware in daily life appear to experience better overall well-being. And when I looked at mindfulness practice, however, these results were more specific. It wasn't how often teachers practiced that mattered. It was how long they had been practicing over time. Sustained practice was associated with lower burnout, but it did not significantly predict job satisfaction. So this suggests that trait mindfulness and mindfulness practice are related, but not the same. Trait mindfulness reflects a more stable way of relating to stress, while practice reflects intentional behaviors that may help reduce emotional exhaustion over time. Now, these findings align with the theoretical foundation of the study. If stress is shaped by how we interpret and respond to challenges, then teachers who are more mindful may regulate stress more effectively. However, job satisfaction appears to be influenced by broader environmental factors beyond mindfulness alone. Now, I want to share with you the scatter plot. You'll see that below. On the left panel, you'll see a strong negative relationship between mindfulness and burnout. The higher the trait mindfulness, the lower the burnout. You see that downward trend? That shows that as mindfulness increases, burnout decreases. And each dot represents one teacher there. Now, to the right panel, moderate positive relationship between mindfulness and teacher job satisfaction scale, meaning higher the trait mindfulness, higher the job satisfaction. That upward trend shows that higher mindfulness aligns with higher job satisfaction. So as trait mindfulness increases, burnout decreases and job satisfaction increases among K-12 teachers. In conclusion, this study shows that teachers with higher levels of mindfulness experience lower burnout, especially when mindfulness is sustained over time. It's important to note that these findings reflect relationships rather than cause and effect, and they are based on teachers' self-reported experiences. However, the patterns are meaningful. While mindfulness was clearly associated with reduced burnout, job satisfaction appeared to be influenced by broader workplace factors. And this tells us something very important, that supporting teachers requires more than internal coping strategies alone. Every day, teachers are asked to regulate classrooms, manage stress, emotions, and inspire the next generation, often without space to restore themselves. Teachers cannot pour from an empty cup, and too many are running on empty. If we want thriving classrooms, we must intentionally design environments where teachers can thrive, and that is the change this research is meant to inspire. Work environments that truly support the well-being of teachers. Thank you.